Guys, before we get into this awesome super safe Kuna, I want to remind you, you guys can win this set of PVS-7. Today is your very last day to get entered to win these PVS-7s. I did a review on it. Definitely, if you haven't watched it yet, check it out. This is a cool bit of kit. It's a great setup for like a GWAT late Cold War era clone build of like a night vision setup. I do think they're really cool and they're actually quite effective. The retail value is about $3,000. The tube in it is really, really nice. You also get a merch item as well. The deadline is tonight at midnight Pacific time. So tonight at midnight Pacific time. Fan of Them is supporting me with this, so big shout out to them. You can go to fanofthem.com/PSR to have a chance to win these things. This is like the Metal Gear nods, guys. It's pretty sick. fanofthem.com/PSR, guys. The link is also in the description. Tonight, midnight Pacific time. Thanks, guys. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of PSR. Today we have something really special. This is a Springfield Armory Kuna, but it's got a special little thing on the bottom. It's the Nexus firearms lower, a lower that allows the use of an AR fire control group and Evo mags. The Evo mags, they're the best subgun mags out there, in my opinion. We're just gonna let a little mag through this thing, because guess what we got in here? Hoffman Tactical Super Safety in here. We got to dump a mag through this extra torqued FDE Kuna. Let's go, super safe mode. Here we go. Let's talk about the super safe Kuna. All right, guys, before we get into talking about the Kuna, I got to thank the channel sponsor for PSR, and that is Aves Engineering. Guys, if you are into DIY projects and squirting your own glizzies, you're gonna love Aves. They got all the rails for your squirted glizzies. They got locking blocks, machined ones, really nice quality ones as well. Also, a ton of Mac parts for your Mac daddies, your mac and cheese, all of that fun stuff. Go to Aves, never use PSR for 10% off your entire order. And once again, thank you so much to Aves for being the channel sponsor for PSR. The Springfield Armory Kuna. This is probably the hottest subgun to release in recent years. I honestly have been waiting to check this out. We filmed a whole video on this already, and I wanted to release that, but Nexus Firearms hit me up and said, hey, before you release that, you might want to check something out that we got for you. And right here we have, this is the very first prototype of the Nexus Evo lower for the Springfield Armory Kuna. I'm going to talk a little bit about the gun first, the stock OEM configuration, and then we'll get into the details of this really sweet lower. So the HS product / Springfield Armory Kuna is made in Croatia. Croatia has a long history of making some pretty sweet guns. The VHS-2, rebranded as the Hellion. Unfortunately, don't love that name for that gun, but one of the best bullpup offerings. Also the Echelon and the XD series from Springfield, all made in Croatia, which is really neat. I've actually been to Croatia with Calvin from Firepower United. I absolutely love Croatia. Beautiful landscape, very sweet people, and they make some cool guns, as I mentioned. So in its stock configuration, we have this lower. This accepts the proprietary Kuna magazines. The Kuna magazines are kind of smoke color, and like I said, they're proprietary, so you have to get a bunch of new mags if you want the Kuna. So I have ran about 1,000, maybe 1,500 rounds through this gun in the original stock OEM configuration, and I didn't have any issues, didn't have any malfunctions. It ran great suppressed, unsuppressed. I didn't have any magazine issues or anything. I did notice the trigger, not necessarily my favorite trigger. For a subgun trigger, I think it could be better. Slightly mushy pull here. It's not horrible. That's kind of like where it starts. Travel. There's the brake. I have heard reports, and I didn't run into any of these issues on my own. I have heard some reports of people shooting suppressed and the magazines getting a little gummed up to the point where the follower actually doesn't come all the way up. Like I said, I have not experienced those issues myself after running about 1,500 rounds through this gun in the OEM configuration. However, that's what Nexus made this for, basically, is because of those mag issues and the ability to put in any AR-15 trigger in it. This gun, the Kuna, actually arose out of a military contract with Brazil. It was originally chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson, believe it or not. That is kind of a more popular cartridge in Brazil. I believe it debuted at Enforce Tac or EWO. It was wildly popular. People were asking when it was going to come to the US. Of course, in the US, we don't shoot a lot of 40 anymore, so they brought a 9mm version. Another thing regarding the name of this thing, I will give Springfield Armory props because they named it the Kuna, which is actually relevant in terms of the Croatian culture. The Kuna is kind of a small, fierce animal, and it's kind of like the pride of Croatia, as well as before they switched to the euro, the Kuna was the name of the currency in Croatia. So I like that they kept some original Croatian nomenclature to the name of this gun versus something cringe like the Hellion. As far as the functionality and how this thing works, it is actually a roller delayed gun. It is not the same as an MP5 in terms of how it works with the roller delay. The closest sibling in a way to this gun is actually the Grand Power Stribog, which is made in Slovakia. I will show you guys the operating system next to each other. It seems like HS Product sort of saw the Stribog and said, hey, let's maybe just like peep over at their homework while we're taking the test. Oh yeah, do that. Okay, sick. And they made their own, essentially their own Stribog. They might not love that I said that, but it's very, very similar to the Stribog. And I actually brought my own Stribog, the SPA3, the delayed one, and we can do some comparisons with that versus our Kuna, which is gonna be fun. On the OEM gun, it is completely ambi, so you've got a ambi safety selector, which it's all right. It's a little bit stiff, but not nearly as stiff as like an MP5 would be. And we have a bolt release on both sides and a mag release on both sides, which I really do like. I originally had painted this gun in this colorway. I decided for this video, kind of want to switch it up and do some FDE, so I actually used some Rapco rattle can paint, and I think it turned out pretty nice. I thought we would go with the peanut butter, kind of 50 shades of FDE, so I painted the laser, this is the SMS laser, and painted the EOTech shroud on here. I also painted the PMags. Let's talk about the Nexus Evo lower. So this, just to be clear, this is a prototype. I am the only one that has this outside of Nexus, so I am extremely grateful for them for sending this out so quick. They're still working out the design. This is their lower right here. So this is going to be offered in both a strip configuration and I think fully built out. They are not going to be offering a super safety version right now because of the whole rare breed trigger patent melee that's happening. So it is a fully CNC aluminum lower. This adds maybe just a fraction of weight. I like the solidness of this feel, and I really like that flared magwell, as well as both ambi, last round bolt hold open, and you've got the thumb paddle. If you know Scorpions, you're gonna be right at home with that thumb paddle mag release. Now things like the paddle mag release, I'm sure you could probably get some aftermarket parts for the one that you like and put it on there. As far as the compatibility of the triggers go, any AR-15 trigger will work in this lower, which is absolutely awesome. So not just the super safety, guys. Any AR-15 trigger, Geisley, Rise Armament, whatever you want, that'll work in this lower. These lowers are gonna be offered in black, FDE, and OD green, and they are gonna retail around 350 bucks. If you've got Scorpion mags and you don't have any Kuna mags, which I think they're kind of hard to get at this point, then this is what you want, because if you've already got a ton of Evo mags, you might as well just run them in here. And to my experience so far, I've put around 250 rounds through this thing. This thing functions flawlessly. We're gonna try it with a bunch of different mags just to kind of test them. P mags, we've got the PGS mags, we've got the OEM Scorpion mags, got an ETS, and we got a actual squirted mag as well, along with the PSA AKV Scorpion style mags. I recently did a video on the Nexus Evo Gen 1 billet aluminum Scorpion. They replaced the upper from plastic to aluminum, and they added a bearing delay system in it. And we also brought our Nexus Evo to kind of compare it with this gun. And Nexus Firearms made this lower essentially because they heard the feedback from people on various forums about the Kuna having some mag issues on that last few rounds, the follower getting stuck. And so they wanted to offer a product that they knew would run flawlessly, because the Scorpion mags, like I said, in my opinion, are the best SMG mags out there, and they're plentiful and very cheap. Now, I will say the OEM mags for the Kuna are relatively inexpensive. I think they're somewhere around between 25 and 30 bucks, which I think is very reasonable. It's about the same as the Scorpion, maybe just a little bit more than a Scorpion mag. Nexus made this to fix some of those mag issues by just using the Scorpion mags. As far as the rest of this gun goes, I've kept it pretty much completely stock. We've got the Strike Industries single side folding brace that comes with the Kuna, and we've got an AB Suppressors F4, which is a really compact and lightweight direct thread 1/2x28 can on here. The Kuna originally comes with a muzzle brake, but if you're going to run it suppressed or want to put a different muzzle brake on it, not a problem. It's just 1/2x28. So I took that off and replaced it with a suppressor. The other cool thing about the Kuna that they kind of maybe borrowed a little bit from the Streebog as well is these flip up iron sights. Because of the EOTech on here, we're not going to be able to co-witness with these. Something about these that's pretty cool is they are metal versus the Streebogs are plastic. They have like a pistol sight built in, similar to the Streebog, where you can actually use them when they're down if you need to. If you can't flip them up, you can use these pistol iron sights that are down when they're folded, and then up is the more traditional aperture style front sight and rear sight. The other cool thing about this thing, this one actually has a folding, non-reciprocating charging handle, and it goes on both sides so you can swap it. So after 1,500 rounds, I really do like this gun, and we're gonna get into more of my shooting impressions of it after we shoot it, especially with that super safety in here. So far it's run great. I lubed it up and cleaned it a little bit after I painted it. I don't think we'll run into any reliability issues, but we're gonna test it right now. Let's shoot it some more. So another thing I wanna mention is, as far as the super safety goes, you guys know how the super safety works probably. The way that this works with this, Kuna is without some sort of device to trip the lever in the super safety lower here that Nexus makes, there needs to be a trip. So the trip is actually a prototype one that Nexus is developing. I think they're gonna make either aluminum ones or really durable SLS nylon ones. The one in here is just made out of PLA. So you'll love to see it. It's about 500 rounds in, no problem. So we'll see if it lasts the whole duration of what we're about to give it today. But speaking of giving it, let's give it some more with the Kuna here. I'm just gonna go regular, normal semi here for a bit and see how this thing shoots. Oh man. As far as the recoil goes, it's not an MP5. So you can't go into this gun expecting it to be as light as an MP5. However, this brace is good because it's nice and stiff, but it does have like a small contact point. A stock would be really awesome. And I hope Springfield eventually brings the actual original Kuna stocks in so that you can SBR it, or hopefully if this short act gets passed, unlikely, but if that happens, then you can just throw a stock on it. And I'm sure it'd be a little bit more gentle on your shoulder. Definitely better than a blowback 9. Let's just shoot a couple more. All right, super safe the rest of the mag. Oh man, that never gets old. All right, let's bring out the Streebog and we'll do a little shooting comparison here. Oh hey, I wanted to thank the ammo sponsor for today's video, and that's Global Ordnance. They are the provider of this ammo. It's Igman 124 grain. We also did bring some subsonic 150 grains and some 115 Spear CCI stuff. So big thank you to Global Ordnance again. Definitely check them out for all of your ammo and firearm related needs. Thanks, Global Ordnance. All right, so here we have the Grand Power Streebog SPA3. This is extremely similar to the Kuna in terms of the design, but we do have also a Scorpion lower on here that takes Scorpion mags and an AR fire control group. It's definitely a popular thing for companies, for example, like this lower A3 Tactical makes. Also, Lingle Industries makes a bunch of lowers. The benefit of that is, like the Nexus one, you can run Evo mags. Let's give it a shot. Also ambi, and I got the paddle mag release here. Got a Rise Armament. I think it's an RA35 trigger in here. Honestly, the recoil impulse isn't bad. Really not bad at all. Let's try the Kuna real quick. The recoil on the Kuna just feel just a tad bit more snap to it. They feel very, very similar. This has definitely got more weight on the gun with the optic and the laser and everything, but pretty damn close. But I think the Streebog is just a tiny bit less felt recoil. All right, next up, I thought it would be interesting to compare the Nexus Evo. So this is another product that Nexus makes. It's the aluminum receiver with the bearing delay. We'll see in terms of a comparison how the recoil feels against our Kuna here. Nice. I don't know if the Kuna is gonna be able to beat that. Back to the Nexus Evo. Yeah, the Nexus Evo is a little bit lighter on the recoil. I really do like this firearm. And we got this new EHS1 holographic sight on here. Let's just bump the rest, eh? All right, so we've already tried our Magpul P mags, very inexpensive Scorpion mags. Those work great, so we ran a full super safe mag of that. I wanted to try all the other mags that I have. These are the PGS, United States made, similar to the OEM mags. And then we've got an actual early OEM mag. I think this one is not the one that breaks, but I haven't had any issues with it. And then we got the, you know, updated Evo 3 Plus mag here. And then we've got our ETS long boy, PSA AKV mag as well. And finally, we have our PLA squirted mag. We'll see if that one runs. Maybe we'll save that for last. I don't use this very often, but figured why not try it. Super safe with the Kuna and the OEM 3 Plus mag. Here we go. That one worked. All right, now we're trying the CZ USA original translucent one. Super safe. That works. Now we're trying the PGS. These have metal feet lips. Oh man, this thing shoots great when it's in super safe mode. AKV mag. A little bit tighter in there, not gonna lie. The AKV mag is a tight fit. All right, here we go. That worked. Getting the can hot, baby. All right, we got 2 mags left. ETS now. Oh, dick. All right, now, guys, this is a squirted mag. Don't get mad if it doesn't work, okay? So far, all of the Scorpion mags that we've used have worked. And we'll see. Here we go. Oh, holy shit. All right, we did have, oh, it didn't lock open, but we went through all of the rounds. Pretty damn impressive, honestly. That was, what was that, like 5 or 6 mags consecutively? This thing runs great. The lower, even in a prototype form, is doing awesome, and we got this barrel hot as hell, boy. Oh, dick. I'm gonna let this thing cool down for a second. All right, this is probably gonna be my favorite part of the video because I get to try 3 guns back to back in super safe mode. Well, we've got our Atrius Super Selector here, which is very similar to Super Safety, on our DOE SMG from H&R. Straight blowback, really pretty much the simplest design in terms of a sub gun and probably the most recoil. And then we've got our full-size MP5. This is the POF MP5 with a leaf sporting lower in here, and it's got the Super Safety as well from Z3 Pro. Obviously, we've got the Kuna, so we're gonna go back to back as quick as I can, full super safe mag dump, and I'm gonna tell you my impressions after. Let's do this. All right, H&R first, let's do it. Oh man. Wow. MP5 wins, obviously. That thing, it just does not move. Like, I'm looking at the iron sights and it just doesn't move at all. The DOE SMG, I mean, it's an old design. They tried to replace the MP5 with this. Pretty unwieldy in terms of the super safe recoil. It's just going up and down quite a bit, giving your brain a little bit of rattle. And the Kuna is like I thought it would be. It's right in between the two, honestly. It's not quite as tame as the MP5 is, which is gonna be really hard to do, but it is definitely better than the straight blowback. You look at the reticle and the EOTech, and it's kind of going like this, but I was able to keep it on target. With the iron sights and the DOE, it's hard to keep that thing on target. I knocked the target over with the MP5, so I had to switch targets. The MP5 is just chef's kiss. Still undefeated in terms of the felt recoil, but for what it is, the Kuna is a pretty solid performer, I would say. We've tried a bunch of different mags in this thing. We compared it with some other sub guns in this class, and now I want to see what it's like subsonic rounds. Nice and quiet. We have our Dead Air Mojave 9 on here. It's really cool. Squirted can, actually, metal squirted. Modular, so you can take this last baffle stack part out and you can convert it to kind of like a shorter one. It is pretty damn lightweight, honestly. We got the Cellar and Bellet, 150 grain. Let's see how this thing does. Ears off, into the berm. See if you can catch the sound of this thing. Pretty damn quiet. Time to put it into super safe and just give her, eh? I'm just gonna not hit steel so you can hear how quiet it is. God damn. I could shoot that all day. In terms of just like the sound of the bolt carrier moving back and forth, some guns are louder than others, but this one's honestly pretty quiet for what it is. All right, so some final thoughts on our Springfield Armory Kuna with the awesome Nexus Firearms Evo Mag AR Fire Control Group lower with the super safety in it is awesome. Like I said, I did run about 1,500 rounds through this gun in its OEM configuration. I didn't have any issues with it. It ran perfect. I ran it mostly suppressed. I didn't have any mag issues with the OEM Kuna mags, but like I said, some people were reporting some of the followers getting held up at the top of the mag. Didn't run into that, but honestly, with this product from Nexus Firearms, this lower, I would just run it with that. Honestly, we had zero malfunctions. P-mags, the OEM Scorpion mags, both the 3+ and the original Scorpion mags, the PGS mags, the Palmetto State Armory AKV mags, and even my squirted mag worked. It didn't lock open on the last round for the printed mag, but it is what it is on that. Now, as far as the reliability goes, we put about 1,000 more rounds through this, probably even maybe a little bit more than 1,000 rounds through this today. So we're sitting at around 27-ish hundred rounds through this thing. It's been great. I did notice that we did shoot this pretty much all day suppressed, and the montage and between all of the shooting, I did realize that inside got quite gummed up and quite dirty, so much so that it didn't affect the function of the gun per se in terms of firing it, but when I tried to hit the last round bolt hold open, I was able to hit it and the bolt came forward, but it was so dirty that it wasn't seating the round. Now when I slung shot it, it did fine and it chambered the round no problem, so we did clean this thing midway through the video, and after I cleaned it, totally fine. That is something of note. I think most subguns suppressed, particularly the delayed ones, they can get quite dirty and get gummed up when you shoot them suppressed. So that is a note, but I think that really pretty much applies to any subgun shooting suppressed. Also, in shooting this thing next to some of our other subgun offerings, I think it sits right about the Streebog. Considering they're so close together in design, it sits right there in terms of the felt recoil. Maybe the Streebog just a tiny bit less felt recoil than this. Shooting this thing super safe is so much damn fun. It is locked on target. It's, like I said, not quite the same as the super safe MP5, but dude, this thing absolutely fucks. One thing I do really want to try now that I have this lower is actually to try that Atrius 3 position super selector in it, because I think it should work given that the design is super close to the super safety in design with that lever in a very similar way. So maybe that'll work on it. It would be nice to try that in the future. Guys, I gotta say again, this lower from Nexus Firearms is sick. It had no malfunctions, no issues regarding sticking the mag in, and this is a prototype. This isn't the final version of it, but I believe it's going on pre-order right now today. So definitely, if you're interested in this product, give Nexus a look. I can't say the website or anything on here. Supporting small American businesses is always a good thing. So this thing, I think the pre-order price is going to be $350. In my opinion, that's very reasonable. This little subgun is awesome. I love it. I'm going to keep shooting it. I do really like the Kuna. I think Springfield knocked it out of the park with this at $9.99. It's a really hard one to beat. I think all of the controls are really well thought out, and I think it's a cool subgun if you're into subguns. That's gonna be it for our video today on the Super Safe Kuna. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. And thank you guys for watching another episode of PSR. If you want to support me, you can support me on Patreon. Every little bit goes a long way. This range time isn't free, and other expenses with the channel, it definitely goes a long way. So if you want access to my music, early access to content, you want to be in the credits of the video, sign up for the Patreon, guys. Another reminder, guys, before we close out the video, you guys can win these PVS-7s, this set of PVS-7s right here that's on my helmet. Last chance to win these things tonight, midnight Pacific, fanofthem.com/PSR. Link is in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Again, we keep knocking the target over. Let's see if I can Damn. God damn. Oops.